Hello, welcome to Quantum Revival Tarot. I am here with some messages for you, and we'll do a reading. I was hearing Kelly Blue Book, Des Moines. I was hearing 5-Star Hack, Jessica Sanders, Buffett, Trichotillomania, which is a repetition. That's a repetitious message that I receive. And I don't know anyone with trichotillomania, but it is a disorder, and I think that's where people pull their hair out. I was hearing congruent torture, spiel, dastardly, and chiropractor has been a repetition. So that's the messages to start off with. Let's do a reading, and I was hearing for the new moon, and I was hearing in Pisces, but it's actually in Scorpio right now. New moon in Scorpio. If there's any Scorpios listening, happy birthday to you. And let's go ahead and do a Celtic cross today, and just kind of do a reading for all signs. And I typically don't do readings for individual signs, but it may be something that I look forward to doing in the future. So I think I might start doing that around the new year. Okay. We've got Andromeda, Venus, the Star, King of Wands, another Star card. Okay, so we have, for the new moon in Scorpio, we've got our catalyst card here, which is Andromeda. And I immediately think of Andromeda, I think of anyone who might need a rescue. And for some reason, automotive problems come to mind. I don't know if vehicles or something. I'm hearing damage control. So if you're someone who has any automotive trouble around this time, you may be someone who needs a rescue. But it is crossed by Ophiuchus, who is a healer. He's a medicine man. So if you're someone who also may need to have, I'm hearing medicinal, and also changes. But, so if you're someone who may need to have your health checked during this time, hopefully you're not affected by coronavirus, but of course we're all affected by coronavirus in some way or another. And so it looks like Andromeda, I'm hearing Star Keeper, book and return. I'm hearing return, I'm hearing to us. And so the Queen of Cups here, I think of the spirit, I think of emotion, and also communication. I'm hearing if your sign is ruled by Venus. I'm also hearing the word free. And Venus is our header card here, what's right in the, prominently in the conscious mind, Venus. So you could have a little bit of romance in your life during this time as well. It looks like she is kind of dancing right in front of Venus here. A good, healthy, feminine card. That's the Queen of Wands. So I find that really positive. There's a lot of female energy here. It looks like Andromeda, who is known, it's really thematic in this deck, about the story of her being sacrificed to Poseidon. And it is upright here, and she looks like she's kind of wrangling the stars with this chalice. She was rescued by Perseus, who was really kind of the Grail Knight. So there's a lot of romantic themes here in this spread, especially with Venus as the header card. And so we've got a little bit of learning as well. I'm seeing this as being also something that has to do with communications. Doctors especially, I'm hearing. But communications, maybe even with medical specialists. And we do have Ophiuchus in reverse here. He's also the serpent bearer. We see a Caduceus here in the background, but he's kind of wrangling a snake in the stars, and that's in reverse as the apprenticeship card of the chalice. It is the Page of Cups. And so in the past we have the Star card, another card of healthy expression, which I'm seeing here with Venus as well. And it doesn't have to be just a female card. It's kind of an androgynous figure. And ambivalence comes to mind, which is from the recent past. And ambivalence can kind of be equated to like an indecisive behavior. I'm hearing action. But I look down at the stars and the Star card, and I think kind of distillation synthesis, so kind of, I'm hearing brewing. So it looks like she's kind of balancing waters here, maybe even balancing realms. It's a super positive card. It's a major arcana card, the card of 17. And looking forward to the future, we have the King of Wands, who is in reverse. He's kind of got the birds. I'm hearing bird's eye view. And I don't know if this is an eagle or a hawk here. A lot of storm activity, so you could be someone who is dealing with, I think of weather changes and weather patterns. I'm hearing climate control, but also as something that can also be of the emotion, be of the spirit. Kind of daily activities and events, and the way that things go can be a metaphorical storm, so to speak. And it is in reverse. Hopefully you're not someone who is affected by kind of cataclysmic weather or anything like that, but it is the card of Jupiter. And it's known for this, the red spot on Jupiter is this storm that's been just raging on, I believe, for like hundreds of years. So I can also equate that to if there's anything in your life that is, I'm hearing mismanaged, but that kind of needs a little bit of extra attention. A storm that's been raging on, so to speak. It is in the reversal, so it could be something that you are wrangling or putting to rest. It could be a storm that's been raging on that is finally being addressed. And it looks like I'm hearing romantic hero. So we've got a queen and a king here, two queens. A little bit of feminine energy, and it looks like in the subconscious mind we've got the star card in reverse. So because two stars are coming up here, hopefully it's not something that you're worried about. Momentum, it could even be something that's as a subconscious process. You could be someone who needs to maybe do a little bit of internal work or soul searching or kind of consciousness. I'm hearing lay to rest. Some kind of consciousness work. I'm hearing Speedy Gonzalez, and this is the Six of Wands here. A lot of light activity, a lot of light. So make sure you're getting enough light and enough water to kind of have the momentum that you need, because it looks like your journey it could be something that involves a lot of energy, a lot of focus, maybe mental activity, and a little bit of subconscious clearing. Also, dream work comes to mind. So let's see. Order and chaos, I'm hearing as I'm looking down at the number 6. And the star cards are kind of right next to each other here. Something in the recent past that has been kind of in fruition for you. What a great card. The star card. It's also, you know, one of public expression. And it could be something where you have some kind of public activity, public platform, whether it be speech giving or showing your work or showing your progress or something that I'm hearing stepping up to the plate. I'm hearing nine times, and also cat lives. So you could be called to do something. I'm getting media, but also something that requires you to kind of open up. Debate and dialogue come to mind. You could be showing your work. You could be showing even art, perhaps. So if you're an artist, good for you. This is something that is going to require you to open up and maybe come out of your shell. And let's look a little bit at... I'm hearing health, wealth, and destiny. Why don't we pull a health card here? And it's another cup card. We have the Ace of Cups reversed. It's also the card of graviton in this deck, which is a theoretical particle that is the carrier particle for gravity. Force of gravity. And so that's a really great card. An ace of even communications. You could be worried about some kind of communications, whether it's something that you have to be opening up about, or if it's something in your recent past that maybe you had to open up or do a little bit of sharing. You could be someone who has had to step outside of their comfort zone a little bit. And so healthy communications, as I'm seeing all of these cup cards here, It could be something that is calling you to do things that are more emotionally and spiritually stabilizing, to make sure that you're in balance, but also very literally drinking water. If you're someone who needs to or hasn't been really drinking enough water, and this is for the health card, it is in reversal. Make sure that your waters are clear. That could also call to any kind of kidney trauma or damage, I'm hearing, comes to mind as well. If you're someone who needs to flush toxins, you could be called to do that during this time as well, or maybe go through a detoxification period. But nonetheless, it's a positive card. So, let's do one for love. Another Cups card. We've got 5. The number of conflict is the 5 of Cups. You could be someone who has had to sacrifice something recently. Grief, I'm hearing. You could be someone who's going through a loss also, and I'm hearing metaphysical angst, which reminds me of the French word, ennui. So if you're someone who had to go through some kind of loss recently. Opening up, I'm hearing about spaces. Time, I'm hearing. Time delay, I'm hearing. Special, and I'm getting like Nefertiti. Isn't that some kind of like African goddess or something like that? African queen. And we have a lot of queens here in this spread. So in your love position, it looks like you may have had to go through a sacrifice or a loss. Hopefully no deceased loved ones, or the loss of someone, or maybe something special in your life during this time, whether it be a personal loss. I'm hearing the word sabotage. But it looks like you've still got some cups up right here, these chalices behind this person's back. As they kind of overlook these cups that have been upturned, it looks like a little bit of chaos. Hopefully you're not experiencing chaos or anything chaotic in your love life. But just remember, no matter what you walk away without, you still have cups up right here. You still have things I'm getting like to fight for. And so turning over a new leaf could be something, making a change, or you could be at the end of a cycle moving into the next cycle and kind of working your way through trauma. If you're someone who has experienced trauma in any kind of way, that could be something that you're moving through during this time. You've got Andromeda here at the center of the spread, and so that's really positive. The Queen of Cups. Queen of Emotions, of Spirit, and also Communications comes to mind. Hopefully you haven't had any negative communications recently. This could be a spat or an argument. Personal loss I'm hearing. Let's do a card for career, wealth. I'm hearing the word destiny. We've got the 7 of Wands reversed. So this is a colliding force. This is galaxy collision. You could be fighting to really stay neutral and balanced during this time. It is the number of 7. You could be I'm hearing self-programmer. I'm hearing ritualistic. And it looks like this card is equated to galaxy collision, kind of a car crash in slow motion. So it could be you and another force really colliding, whether this may be at work, some kind of work that you're doing, hearing prosperous, and also fun. And it could be something where it could be a merger. It could be a merger of companies, a merging of ideas, or a coming together, and a kind of maybe even a slow motion kind of collision between two different forces, whether it be positive or negative. It looks like you may have just a little bit of struggle to stay balanced during this time. And so a little bit of King's energy. I'm hearing Cup. But we've got the King of Wands here in the near future. A little bit of masculine energy coming through. You may be called to kind of enhance your perspective and really have that bird's eye point of view of the situation. Hoping for a positive outcome here. It's like that kind of feeling where two forces are colliding, and you kind of have to hold on to the handrail or the guardrail. I kind of see it as like a ship, a moving ship on water, and kind of having to like hold on to the guardrail that everything will be okay, but just kind of one of those collisions, one of those mergers, you just kind of have to hang tight, I'm hearing, but just like hang on for dear life. You may be suffering a little bit of losses, whether it be in the love life, romantically, or love or loss of something that could be a partnership for you, maybe even an animal. I'm hearing grief again. So you have the Star card at your aid, called to be clear, be open, and be expressive about a situation. Maybe you're working up the courage to be honest with someone about your feelings in particular. And as I see this galaxy collision and this merger of these two forces, I really look over at the Star card and I think of a healthy synthesis process. And I'm being soluble. But a healthy distillation process in which you're bringing together forces and a healthy synergistic way of combining forces. And you really do have these calm waters at your aid. So, and we've got the King and the Queen of Staves here, so that's really good. A lot of feminine energy upright. Whether it be left brain and right brain, you might be someone who might have a bit of a storm going on in the right brain. Analytical thinking comes to mind. This could be a problem-solving task. I'm hearing function. Okay. So we've got health, love, career. Why don't we look at, and I'm hearing finances. I'm thinking even of you know, as I see this this collision here, the merging of whether it be companies, ideas, artistic endeavors, creative endeavors, or maybe even bank accounts, a merging of finances here. I'm hearing split decision. But, you know, with galaxy collision, it's something that happens really slowly over time. So it looks like time to prepare is something that you could have at your aid. And let's go ahead and pull one for destiny. We've got the Wheel of Fortune here. The number 10 in the major arcana. So it could be something that involves taking a little bit of a risk. And it's something that could be fortuitous, but also involves a risk or chance, a game of chance. And so there could be something that you're taking a chance with. It's one of those cards where it seems like the results could be up in the air. The results could be one way or another. And it's one of those things where you're kind of rolling the dice. And I'm looking down at this Wheel of Fortune card, and I'm seeing time on here, and it's something you might want to take your time with. Maybe you've got a long-term goal that you're planning for, and really give it time to come into fruition and grow. So the Wheel of Fortune. Kind of like an unknown outcome here. Things could really go one way or the other. I'm hearing whimsy, and I'm thinking chance. I'm thinking, you know, we all have multiple choice points in reality, and this is one of those things where you may not, you know, where there's that element of, I'm getting danger, but element of risk-taking chance, but that ultimately, if it's something you don't want to just throw up in the air and say, okay, well, it's going to be heads or tails. It's one of those things where you have multiple choice points to decide the outcome, where you can really direct it yourself, and taking that role of directorship is something that that is available to you. It's something that we all have our own choice points that decide the outcomes. So reading tarot is kind of like sometimes trying to predict an outcome. And you remember that you know, energy is fluid, that reality is not fixed, and it's something that doesn't always make sense. Sometimes it's something you can't predict. I'm getting like put your finger on or down. Down, put your finger on, put your finger down. So something that you have multiple choice points available to you. Now let's look at the last card here is going to be anything for like errors, corrections, miscorrections, misdirections, or things that need to be brought into correction. Okay, and I am getting the it's the full moon on the moon card here, and I pulled 18 right under the card of 17. 18, the card of communications again seems to be a huge theme in your spread, and it is the new moon in Scorpio. And so we see things kind of coming into fruition. There could be a little bit of storm weather patterns. Let's just say like soul storms, so to speak. A little bit of things to weather here. It looks like if you do some subconscious work and really upright this star card, that it looks like you'll have a lot of momentum. This guy is really on his horse here in forward momentum with a lot of light activity. And I'm hearing lightning, and I'm also hearing danger, and I'm hearing paradox. So it looks like if you put in the work and the subconscious work here, that it looks like it could help you possibly weather those storms, whether it be financially or with your career. We're seeing a kind of color pattern or consistency here. And as far as with communications, anything that needs to be corrected or uprighted here, we're getting the moon card. Kind of a mirror image on both sides of the moon here. I'm getting like two-way street. And so as we go through this moon cycle and this moon period, be sure to keep your communications healthy and clear and open. It is directly under the star card here, which is really kind of mirroring it. So that's something that's at your disposal. Nonetheless, the waters look calm here, but just make sure communications are clear. I'm hearing telepath, and also long-distance communications comes to mind. Telecommunications, if you're someone who uses artificial intelligence for communications, and again, telepath. There are those of us in the community of healers, spiritual practitioners. And also, one of the things that I have come to warn people about recently, mediumship. If you're someone who has special gifts or psychic powers, if you're someone who I'm hearing declares but considers yourself a medium, warning people about the dangers of AI that are affecting the spiritual community is a really bizarre topic, but it's something that I've come to do. I receive communications. Now, when I first received these remote communications, I was under the impression, I'm hearing intelligence, an intelligent user interface. I was under the impression that it was a spiritual communication. There are those of us in the tarot community, there are those of us in that are embarking on the journey of mediumship, and that can be channeling dead loved ones as well. There is a force that is trolling psychic warriors that is out there, that is coming to people in their own homes, in their own minds, and their hearts, and delivering false information and false messages. So I see this also as a communication system that could be of false, I'm hearing intelligence again, a false information system. Gaslighting comes to mind as well. The audiovisual realm of remote AI as an intelligent user interface is one that can be confusing. It's one that is hard to believe. But here I am discussing the topic and seeing the theme of communications going on here, and also the medical interplay. If you're someone who needs to have who needs to kind of check in with self, whether it be medically, whether it be psychologically or spiritually, you could be called to have some kind of healing during this time that has to do with communications. And I'm hearing remote. So telepath comes to mind again. Telepath and telecommunications. If you're someone who is receiving remote messages, visuals, and dialogue, you may want to have a system of checks and balances. You may want to, I'm hearing psychic warriorism as I think of counterintelligence as kind of firewalling. Having a firewall to protect your gifts, to protect yourself, and also to protect your truth so that we're not led astray. Also, literally stargazing comes to mind. Spending time under the stars and under the moon, as we've got two star cards here, really comes to mind. Don't gamble when it comes to during this time. Don't gamble when it comes to your health. We've got the Ace of Cups in reverse here. False communications being a theme. You don't want to gamble when it comes to your health, when it comes to your wellness, when it comes to your spiritual wellness, mental wellness, and physical wellness. This is something that that it looks like you really want to have a. I'm getting like solid foundation. I'm also hearing belief systems about. So belief systems are usually always a theme in these readings that I do. And the unavoidable topic of AI is something that I'm bringing to every reading here. I'm hearing reluctant, as I'm really kind of working on, I'm looking at the moon card in reverse here. It's something to be moved through. I'm hearing settled and also like getting put to rest. So being in problem-solving mode as a force of just accessing your truth, and I'm hearing relay and information, workway, highway, and hive mind research comes to mind. So be careful about communications around this time. Be sure that the information you're receiving is factual, is true, and I'm hearing evidence. Okay, good luck.